Hello. This series is from Beck's new video, Socialism, A Warning from the Dead. It's from my experience of a countless socialist mobile gulag. Also, it's kind of a mixture of the two. You'll have his videos in there. Then you have some of my commentary, and trying to people understand what I went through and what the new experiences may be if someone else ends up going through the same thing later on. There also might be some repetition in these videos in the series. I don't know how many videos would be in the series, but if there is repetition, I'm sorry. This is a stream of consciousness. It's just how I feel when I watch these particular parts of the video and how it made me feel. And thank you for clicking on this video.
And the last step was to activate the bottom up. They had to mobilize the ground game from the bottom and coordinate it with the government officials at the top. They created a laundry list of organizations. Some of them were large, some of them had national membership, some of them were small, existing mainly in small villages and towns. Some of them included the United Revolutionary Trade Union, the United Association of Czech Peasantry, the Association of Liberated Political Prisoners, and smaller peasantry commissions. With direct coordination from the socialists within the government, these small and large organizations held nationwide rallies and protests. They pressured businesses and politicians to toe the party line. Anyone that strayed, if you were in business and you wouldn't go along, you were publicly shamed or set upon by a large gathering.
All these things, bottom-up coordination, protests, pressured businesses, publicly shamed, set upon by a large gathering, all have connections kind of with the mobile gulag. The thing that really doesn't, though, is in my attack, they actually brought people and sat them where I worked or where I went to. So they actually, if I would go to the same place over and over again, they'd actually get someone to work there to harass me, or the person who would harass me would get a job there just to harass me. So the person needed a job. They'd try to put them in a place where I would actually work, try to get them a job there, just so they can get around to messing with me and spreading rumors of the place where I frequent. So I'd have to leave there. And as I changed my actions, they'd say, "See, this attack works. Let's keep on doing it." And that's kind of how the mobile gulag followed me. Is they followed me by the attack externally. They got people who are already there willing to attack me. They also had people who were, let's say, hired there, that already were ready to attack me from when I first hired. And that way they'd be around all the time to attack me. Kind of like a three-way setup. I was in a situation where all the truth around me was ignored. And there was lies purposely just made to break me. And they kept the lies alive as a way to make me not be able to argue, fight, or prove truth. There was no reality or moral principles used when dealing with me. There are only whims and the rules dictated by those acting upon me within the mobile gulag. Just like the world being created around us now. That's what scares me about this. Is that when I look at what I went through, it's not the attacks that scare me. It's the idea that there was no truth. It's the idea that they stole reality. And I was living in the unreal world where there was no truth. Everyone around me was living in the real world, not realizing this non-real world will eventually get to them. They use the term liar or crazy to silence me. Harasser, freak, weirdo. They use whatever term they can to label you. They just need to label you and make a reasonable desire for people to be willing to mess with you. Now, a lot of people don't even have to mess with you very extremely. Only enough to annoy you and have you fight. But then there's the major attackers that really mess with you or harass you or attack you in a very extreme way, like a throwing up or spitting in your food, or more physical, where it's more dangerous for you. So there's different levels of attack in this in the long run. They made sure I didn't have the ability to open a checking account, like they're doing to people today. That was important. So I would be completely isolated and without the means of helping myself. They knew I could actually write code online. They knew I actually had abilities to make money online. And I didn't want to be able to do that. In my situation, they made a fake friends technique and admitted on earlier using a fake lovers technique on earlier attacks other than mine. This includes creating affairs, having boyfriends and girlfriends that are fake, that are just made there so they can get information. I don't know what happened in Czechoslovakia, but what I experienced and what they admitted openly to me is that they study everybody's weaknesses, including those who are close to the target. And they will use fake friends, lovers technique to get info if no other way is available. Now, with what we have today, because when this started with me, it was 2003. Facebook and Twitter and all that wasn't reasonably accessible. They couldn't just get information on you by looking at that. So they had to get deep into my life. Now they don't have to anymore. Now you put it out there. Then they will peel the target of the life apart until the target's enough and allows them to win. This is very sadistic when you are the target. You realize how overpowering it is. You realize how with no reality, there's no way to fight back.
This was their 5-year plan. It took them 3 years to flip a country. The results came swift and brutally. And keep in mind, this is 1945. In 1945, it was a capitalist country that protected private ownership. It was so American. But by 1947, 75% of all industry had been nationalized. Land from large farm owners had been completely liquidated and given to other people. In 1948, communist control had become so great that they grabbed what little power was left. Many have called that final power grab an outright coup. What was a strong economy began to crumble almost overnight. Currency and wages declined. Banks began seizing savings and deposits. The police state had to grow stronger. They held mock trials. They crushed protests. The media was censored. Yes, they started digging ditches and shooting people. Czechoslovakia would endure this hell for 40 years. For those living in Eastern Europe during that time, the stories of living under these repressive socialist regimes are strikingly and horribly similar. So, there's a couple of things. This is just a quick thumbnail of this. Similar. So, there's a couple of things. This is just a quick thumbnail of this. But I have been overwhelmed at how far down the road we are. Has anyone noticed how fast all of this is happening? How did we go from a country that we couldn't even admit that we were socialist? You couldn't say that. That was racist to say, hey, I think Van Jones, a former communist, might be a radical. That was racist just a few years ago, to now people coming out and saying capitalism is over. Do you remember what I said about the first chalkboard and how that's going? I need you to see first how this is being implemented and then what's coming. But let me just take a quick break, go over to Stu, and we really want to take your questions on today's show. We have an amazing panel for you, and I so appreciate you watching. If this is useful at all, please, silencing of voices is coming, and we need to stand together. And honestly, I don't care if you subscribe to the Daily Wire with Ben Shapiro. He's a friend. He's got a great thing going on over there, and they're great people. Just support whoever your voice is, whoever you want to support the Blaze of the Daily Wire. I don't care. But please support us and join us at the Blaze TV. Stu.
the networks are not going to give you programming like this. You're not going to get investigations like this from the mainstream media. It's not happening. As Glenn mentioned, everyone from the Daily Wire to the Blaze, we need to have your support if you want to go into this sort of stuff. We can certainly run our mouths all day, and that's always fun to do, and you got to do that sometimes. But to really go in depth on something like this, that's not going to be a sexy, clickbaity headline. You really need to have the resources to do it, and this is all you. You guys have made this happen so far, and we want to do more of this stuff. So we really ask you to come on board, and if you can subscribe, I think you should. I mean, I think it's a great value anyway. You got great shows like Steven Crowder and Mark Levin and Eric Bowling and Allie and everybody here, which is great. Chad Prather, Graham Allen, there's a million of them. So that's great right on its surface. But it's also, we're talking about a community, it's a movement. It's really a machine to push back against what the mainstream media is telling people, trying to get the truth out there, trying to push back and actually show people what is actually going on, not only with history, but present and also the future. If you can subscribe, we'd love you to. Go to blazetv.com/Glenn, blazetv.com/Glenn. Use the promo code GB20OFF, GB20OFF. That'll get you $20 off a subscription. We'd love for you to join. If you can't join, if it's not the right thing for you right now, that's totally cool. We understand. If you could subscribe to the YouTube page, of course, that's free. We're going to be posting stuff there. Share this video, like it, help spread the word, because if people can find out about this and find out about the truth, it's really going to be something that really the only way that we can change this and stop it from happening. We're also going to be doing a question and answer thing coming up with Glenn in just a few minutes. You're going to want to